Hello everyone, today we're going to be smelling La Fille de Berlin, which is my latest Serge Lutens purchase, and it's going to be my last for a while because I think I've come to the end of it all. Can't find any others. And my friend, who is sort of my Serge Lutens mentor at this point, told me, because I don't know how this smells, this is going to be a first impression. This was a blind buy. As I said before, you can't find Serge Lutens fragrances here to sample anywhere, so all of them were blind buys for me, most of them, with the exception of the samples I received from my dear friend. And he told me I should smell La Fille de Berlin with Fils de Joie in mind. So that's going to be interesting because I love Fils de Joie and I have it here. So if we need to bring out Fils de Joie, she's right here. So let's smell La Fille de Berlin, which I suppose La Fille de Berlin is the older. This came out in 2013 and Fils de Joie is a 2020. And last year, I think they launched La Fille Tour de Fer, which is supposed to be rather familiar with, or a continuation of La Fille de Berlin. There's a lot of La Fille, right, in Serge Lutens, so I don't know, haven't smelled either of those. Silly me, forgot how to open the Serge Lutens box. All right, there it is. Oh, love the color. Love the color. Let's bring out the Fils de Joie bottle as well, because this one is very nicely colored as well, and I can tell you that there is a slight relationship between the fragrances, as you can see by the color. La Fille de Berlin is slightly more cooler in tone. It's more purplish, right? It's got more blue. This red has more blue than Fils de Joie, which is a lot redder. It's like wine. And let's see how this smells, because on my wrist, on this hand, I also have La Couche de Diable, which is projecting, so I hope I didn't make a terrible mistake. Oh no. Well, I knew it was a rose, but oh no. Oh yes. This is rose upon rose, green, honeyed. Oh yes. Oh yes. You know, it's very familiar to me. God. It's very, very familiar to me because it smells a bit like Rose Barbare from Guerlain. But this is fresher and even more metallic. And I can see, not necessarily the resemblance, but the relationship it has with Fils de Joie. Fils de Joie feels like this, only more honey, and you swap the rose with that deafening night blooming jasmine. So Fils de Joie is white, whereas this one is red. And just like with fragrances from Guerlain, when you smell this rose, you can also smell the leaves and the thorns and the stems and the sap and the roots. It's the whole plant. This is a living rose. This is breathing. It is beautiful. It is a stunning rose. Oh, wow. So this was a reference some years ago. I spoke about rose scents that I had at that time, and most of them were Guerlain. Of course, you can still find that video on my channel. I know some people told me, oh, you have to smell La Fille de Berlin, right? Because that's a very photorealistic rose. It's textbook rose. And now I am smelling it, so thank you for letting me know. There's a bitterness to this. It's not just rose. And it's so, that honey is gourmand. So very interesting. I should apply this on the skin as well before I forget. Should I make this my scent of the day? Let's. This is the last video I filmed today. So I'll be wearing rose today. Oh my. God, this is so, it's fresh rose. This is fresh. As opposed to Fils de Joie, which is overpowering, as I said. You can check out my Fils de Joie video. Fils de Joie is too much. It's honey upon honey. It's a, the scales are tipped. This one feels balanced. This one feels architecturally like an isosceles triangle. Can you say that? Is that a word? It's like this sort of structure, right? It's very stable, but it aims for the sky. It's a very high rising scent, whereas Fils de Joie kind of flattens and overpowers and covers everything. There's something aldehydic and soapy about this. Now I'm terribly curious to smell La Fille Tour de Fer, because if that's supposed to be a continuation of this, let me search for it briefly. Okay, so the notes are for La Fille Tour de Fer, mind you: Turkish rose, Bulgarian rose, iris, and pink pepper. Interesting. I'm going to have to smell that as well. The notes for this are rose for La Fille de Berlin, rose, geranium, palmarosa. I don't know what that is. What is that? It's green, herbs and fougères. What is it? Honey, moss, and patchouli. This reminds me of the coolness, the coldness, the iciness of Rose Nacré, right? So yeah, you don't have to cry over that fragrance anymore. I think it's quite similar to this one. If you missed that one, La Fille de Berlin, that's the answer, I think. I'm going to have to do a comparison between the two at some point. I'll bring out some roses again. I feel I'm in the mood for rose now. This is beautiful. Such a beautiful rose. And there are roses I don't like, you know. I don't like all roses. There was that État Libre d'Orange, Rossi de Palma scent that I didn't like. It was too much. There was something harsh about that rose that I didn't quite like. And also there's another rose scent, Douleur from Bog, which I did not like. I think it's the second one, the Douleur 2 or whatever. I did not like that one. I don't know why. It's again, that's something that I did not like. It's difficult to explain. But this one, oh my. You know, all rose scents are similar between them because, you know, a rose is a rose is a rose. But this one feels like a first. And it's not the first time I'm smelling rose and patchouli and honey. God only knows, you know, I'm a Guerlain fan. They do rose and honey and patchouli all the time. But this feels like a first because it's so soapy fresh. Aldehydic, as I said, it aims for the sky. It's got a flight to it. It's got an upward trend. And it's got none of that incense rose. There's so many fragrances that use incense rose, oud rose. No, this is fresh rose, flowery, bright pink rose. And it's not necessarily jammy rose, which is very interesting as well. It feels like you're smelling the actual flower, not the rose oil. I'm going to have to bring out Naema for this, because Naema is not cooked rose and Naema is peachy rose. Interesting. At some point I'm going to have to do a comparison between Naema, La Fille de Berlin, and I think Rose Nacré du Désert, because I think that's the groundwork, you know, those are the limits, I suppose. honey scents, because Naema is honeyed as well, patchouli as well. This is very interesting, and it does have a beautiful evolution on the skin, where the first sprays were deafening rose. Gradually, as I said, it heightened and freshened up. Usually it starts fresh and darkens, especially rose, but this one, it kind of flew off my skin. It kind of became more fresh. I love this one. I love this one a lot, and it's very romantic. And now let me do that experiment where I smell Fils de Juin and this one in tandem. You know what? When I smell Fils de Juin now, I discover aspects I hadn't previously known they were there. Fils de Juin is very, very soapy as well, just like La Fille de Berlin. Fils de Juin became fresh. Where I said Fils de Juin was this claustrophobic almost honey, Fils de Juin became fresh. And when you smell La Fille de Berlin after Fils de Juin, it becomes greener and more fresh. And the rose is dead center. It's contrasting heavily on a very green field. It's like a parallax, you know. In my mind's eye, it's like the rose came from the background to the center and kind of became disjointed from its background, which is very, very green and fresh. And Fils de Juin, now I can sense some tonka in it. That honey became crunchy, nutty. I think I might layer them at some point. I think they're kin. You are right. You are very right, dear friend. They are definitely kin, and they work wonders together. It's like a kaleidoscope, or I don't know how you put it, that gives you the impression of infinity. What a nice day. What a very beautiful, enjoyable day to smell so many Serge Lutens I smelled today, and to find this beautiful gem, beautiful La Fille de Berlin. Of course, the name is interesting and mysterious, and I have no idea why it's called that, and maybe we'll find out. If somebody knows, please let me know. So that's it. These were my first impressions on La Fille de Berlin, and a bit of a comparison there with Fils de Juin. And if you have any other questions, do let me know in the comments. And until next time, remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy.